I am Peter DeWitt. I'm an elementary school principal in Averill Park, New York. I write the Finding Common Ground blog for Education Week, and I am the author of Dignity for All, Safeguarding LGBT Students, published by Corwin Press. Teachers, I think, are the power in this because they can do this in their classrooms, but they're not going to do it without administrator approval. So school administrators don't always want to take that on because they're afraid that if they get community pushback, they're not going to be able to stand up for these students. Schools cannot deny that they have LGBT students within their school system. And in many of those schools, those students are being ignored. But unfortunately, in most states across the country, administrators and teachers aren't meeting that population. And the reality is, if it wasn't a gay issue, if you took out the coming out piece, if there was a student in school going through a social emotional time, any school would help out the student and their families. And really what this is about is kind of getting kids prepared for real life. And it doesn't matter what town or city you might come from. When you're going to college or into a career, you're going to be surrounded by some people is from the LGBT community. Schools in general are a microcosm of society at large. So you have all these diverse groups that are coming in if there isn't any curriculum. If there isn't literature, if you're not talking about it in debates and in different classes, then they're not getting a better understanding of one another. These students are walking into schools every single day, and they deserve the opportunity to learn just like any other student that walks into the school. As educators, we shouldn't be ostracizing these kids. We should be inviting them in and making them feel engaged so they can learn and maximize their full potential. I think one of the things that are at risk right now in public education with all the other accountability standards is that some schools are using this as an easy way to say we don't have time to talk about social emotional learning. I don't think that everybody has to agree with the LGBT community, but they at least have to allow them a place at the table because they're a part of society just like everybody else. Because of the Equal Access Act, in the U.S., any public school that gets federal funding, they're obligated to allow a student to come in and say, I want to start a gay-straight alliance after school. So by law, schools cannot turn some of these things down. It's great that New York State passed the Dignity for All Students Act. It's a good first step, and I would like to see other states pass that kind of legislation. I want to see administrators explore this topic because it's just not happening enough. I write a blog for Education Week called Finding Common Ground, and in my blog when I talk about LGBT issues, I will hear behind the scenes from teachers that say, this just isn't happening in my school. Through having these policies, all the marginalized populations and the population that has never been marginalized can sort of have these discussions together. There's still way too much bullying that's going on, and I think that through having these discussions, we could make the public school system so much stronger than it is right now. Those policies are only as good as the paper they're written on.